The construction work of Burj Khalifa was going on. The entire structure was somehow built. Now it was the turn to install window panels on it. The engineers thought that installing window panels was not rocket science, so they did not pay attention to it. But then what happened was something that no one had anticipated. The scorching heat of Dubai and the installation of window panels on the world's tallest building caused the temperature inside Burj Khalifa to reach 100 degrees centigrade during the day. It was not possible for any human to enter the building in such a high temperature. This was the biggest issue that arose during the construction of Burj Khalifa, which put the entire construction team in trouble. Due to this issue, the work of interior design of Burj Khalifa had to be stopped. The construction work was on hold for 18 months, but then something happened that revived the sinking dreams of the management and engineers. Guys, Dubai's Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. This 16 feet tall building that pierces through the clouds cost $1.5 billion. Not just this much money, but this building is considered a great feat in the history of engineering. You will be able to know in today's video what difficult stages the engineers, architects and workers went through to complete this great building, what difficulties they had to face, and how solutions were found for those difficulties. Challenge number 1. The first challenge in building Burj Khalifa was to complete the construction on time. The engineers were given only 6 years to build this building, in which they had to accomplish all this feat. Out of these 6 years, only 3 years were required to design the building. If 3 years were spent on designing, then it would not have been possible to build the physical structure of the building in the remaining 3 years. Therefore, the engineers decided to start the construction of Burj Khalifa without a design. For this reason, the digging work started in February 2004. But the design work also continued simultaneously. Challenge number 2. When the time came to lay the foundation of Burj Khalifa, another issue arose. Generally, the foundation of tall buildings is laid on large stones present inside the ground. But the place where Burj Khalifa was to be built, there were either sandy stones or small weak stones beneath it. So then the question was raised whether the world's tallest building would be built on the foundation of these weak stones. Will these weak stones really be able to bear so much weight? To deal with this challenge, a basic principle of science was used, and that was friction. Yes, the foundation of Burj Khalifa was built on 192 solid steel pipes, which are buried 50 meters inside the ground. The weight of the entire Burj Khalifa was to be equally distributed not just on 1 or 2, but on all the 192 steel piles. Challenge number 3. For the design of Burj Khalifa, the construction company Emaar contacted a top-level architecture firm in Chicago. This architecture firm had designed the structures of many tall buildings in the past. But they also got confused in designing the structure of the world's tallest building. Their challenge was to design a structure that could bear the weight of millions of tons of concrete and iron, whose floors would be illuminated by natural light, and that building would also be 160 stories high. This firm worked day and night to find the solution to this unique problem, and that was the butter structure, which was introduced for the first time in the world in Burj Khalifa. Challenge number 4. On the other hand, the construction team kept building one floor after the other, but as soon as they went a little higher, they had to face another problem. That problem was that the concrete mixture that they prepared and sent up would dry up as it reached the top. There was only one solution to this challenge, and that was the concrete suction system. That is, thick pipes should be installed from the bottom to the top of Burj Khalifa. The concrete had to be transported to the upper floors through these pipes. This was no small amount of concrete. The total weight of the concrete used in Burj Khalifa is equal to the weight of 1 lakh elephants. Therefore, to pump so much concrete, 3 of the world's most powerful pumps were ordered, which accomplished this task. Challenge number 5. 3 years had passed since the construction work started. 140 floors of Burj Khalifa had been built, and the building had broken the record of being the world's tallest building on the 140th floor itself. But the crane they had to transport the material to the top was capable of transporting the material only up to the 120th floor. It was not just the crane. The crane operators who handled the crane refused to work at greater heights. For this, The HR firm hired various crane operators from all over the world and brought them to Dubai. These crane operators spoke different languages. But one thing was common in all of them. That is, they were not afraid of heights. This crane operator spent 12 hours a day on duty at a height of 700 meters, and it was famous that he even slept in the crane cabin. Challenge number 6. Only 2 years were left for the launch of Burj Khalifa. The structure of all the floors of the building had been built, but one thing was missing, and that was glass panels. Yes, a total of 24,000 glass panels were to be installed on Burj Khalifa. When it came time to install the glass panels, the temperature inside the building would reach 100 degrees centigrade due to the scorching heat of Dubai and the height. Installing these glass panels would use 10 times more electricity to cool the building. 18 months were spent just in finding a solution to this problem, but finally, the famous engineer John Raffa said that he had a solution to this problem, but that solution would be very expensive. John's offer was accepted because there was no other option. John made a special type of glass that reflected back the UV rays coming from sunlight, but the cost of this one glass panel was $2,000 and $24,000. Such panels were to be made. This amount was a total of $361,000, for which a whole factory was built in, which only these glass panels were manufactured, and in just 4 months these aluminium glass panels were ready. Challenge number 7. In the last year of construction, Burj Khalifa was completely ready for launch. All the work of gas, water and electricity was done, but still something was definitely incomplete. The finishing of the top floor of Burj Khalifa was incomplete. A solid steel pipe was to be installed on it, whose length was 136 meters and its weight was 3.5 tons. There was no crane in the world that could lift such a heavy steel and place it on the top of Burj Khalifa above the clouds, but it was necessary to do this work at any cost, because now it was a matter of launching Burj Khalifa. Finally, the engineers decided that this 136-meter-long rod should be built inside Burj Khalifa itself. So this rod was taken up in small parts and reassembled on the top of Burj Khalifa. Challenge number 8. Now Burj Khalifa was completely complete, but due to years of dust and construction waste, the entire Burj Khalifa was filled with mud. Now the work was to polish it well from outside, for which no other solution was found, but the workers themselves were hung with ropes, and the total 24,000 window panels of Burj Khalifa were polished from outside. This window cleaning work is still done with the help of workers. Now you will know a few facts about the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa. A total of 12,000 workers used to work at the same time in the construction of Burj Khalifa.